Directing the Committee on Ethics of the House of Representatives to release to the public the committee's report on its investigation into allegations against former Representative Matt Gaetz. Whereas, on April 9th, 2021, the Committee on Ethics of the House of Representatives announced that it had begun to investigate allegations that Representative Matt Gaetz may have engaged in sexual misconduct and/or illicit drug use, shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds for personal use, and/or accepted a bribe, improper gratuity, or impermissible gift in violation of the rules of the House, laws, or other standards of conduct.
What's up, everybody? Major Retired Richard Ojeda here. And all right, folks, listen up because this is big. Congressman Sean Casten just introduced legislation to release the findings from the Matt Gaetz investigation. Now, why does that matter? Because these findings reportedly expose sexual misconduct, campaign fund misuse, and outright bribery. We're not talking about jaywalking here. This is corruption of the highest order. And what's Gaetz doing? Is he defending himself? No. He's off grifting on Cameo, shilling videos like a washed-up D-list celebrity.
I just wanted to thank you for being a longtime patriot, for supporting President Trump through thick and thin. And I know you were bummed out when the news broke that I wouldn't be the next Attorney General. We did get a great replacement in Pam Bondi. She's going to do an awesome job. You have nothing to worry about. But hey, listen, I'm still going to be in the fight for you and your family. We've got the House. We've got the Senate. We've got Donald Trump in the presidency. We're going to actually fix the problems. We're going to secure the border, clean up our streets, get the economy roaring again. So we've got a lot to be thankful for. Austin loves you very much for sending this video, and I wish you all the best through thick and thin, just like you've been there for me and for President Trump. And I can assure you, as we approach the holiday season, the best is yet to come.
This is the GOP in 2024, folks, and it's time we talk about it. Sean Casten isn't playing games. He's demanding transparency, and you know what? That scares the hell out of the Republican Party. They're blocking the release of this report because they know it's damning. And let me tell you, folks, when the GOP is scared, that means they've got something to hide. They don't want you to know what Matt Gaetz has been up to, and it's not because they care about justice. It's because they care about protecting their own power. This is what separates leaders like Casten from the MAGA crowd. Casten sees corruption and says, not on my watch. He's standing up and he's saying the American people have a right to know. And he's absolutely right. You paid for that investigation. Your tax dollars funded it. Why should Matt Gaetz get a free pass just because he's a Republican? Accountability doesn't stop at party lines, and it's time the GOP learned that. Now let's talk about Matt Gaetz' latest hustle. While Sean Casten is fighting for transparency, Gaetz is out here selling Cameo videos. You heard me right. Personalized videos where he praises MAGA loyalists like Pam Bondi. Folks, if this doesn't scream grift, I don't know what does. Gaetz is treating public service like a get-rich-quick scheme. And you know what's worse? He's praising Bondi, a woman who openly stated that Trump's next term will be about weaponizing the Department of Justice.
Something else that's going to happen, Sean, is when Republicans take back the White House, and we will be back in there in 18 months or less, you know what's going to happen? The Department of Justice, the prosecutors will be prosecuted, the bad ones. The investigators will be investigated because the deep state, last term for President Trump, they were hiding in the shadows. But now they have a spotlight on them, and they can all be investigated, and the House needs to be cleaned out because now we know who most of them are. There's a record of it, and we can clean house next term, and that's what has to happen.
In one of these Cameo clips, Gaetz gushes over Bondi, calling her a great replacement for Attorney General. Let me tell you something, folks. Bondi's idea of justice is turning the Department of Justice into Trump's personal revenge squad. She's talking about prosecuting prosecutors and investigating investigators. This isn't justice, it's vengeance. And Gaetz, he's right there, cheering her on. It's disgusting. Now let's bring Adam Schiff into this. Schiff is another leader who understands the stakes. He's calling for the Ethics Committee to release its report on Gaetz. And he's not just doing it to score political points. He's doing it because the American people deserve to know the truth.
Do you think that report should be made public?
I do think it should be made public. I don't think that when someone decides to avoid the public accountability, they simply leave Congress and make it all go away. The taxpayers paid for that analysis and that report. I think they have a right to see it.
Do you think it will be made public? Do you have any indication?
I don't know. It seems like on a party line basis, Republicans are saying, no, the public has no right to see this. And what's more, we don't want the public to see this. But it underscores to me why the president's lack of background checks for his nominees is flawed.
Schiff said it best. The taxpayers paid for that report, and they have a right to see it. And he's absolutely right. Transparency isn't a partisan issue. It's a fundamental principle of our democracy. But here's the kicker. The GOP is blocking the release of this report. Why? Because they're afraid of what is in it. They don't want you to know the truth about Matt Gaetz. They'd rather protect him and hold them accountable. And that tells you everything you need to know about today's Republican Party. If we look a little deeper into Pam Bondi, she's not just a figurehead. She's a key player in Donald Trump's plan to dismantle our institutions. Bondi went on live TV and laid it all out. She said that when Trump wins, the Department of Justice will be weaponized. Prosecutors will be prosecuted. Investigators will be investigated. This isn't a conspiracy theory, folks. This is their plan. And let me tell you, Bondi represents the worst of the MAGA movement. She doesn't care about justice. She cares about loyalty to Trump. That's the MAGA blueprint. Loyalty over law, power over principles. And if we let them get away with this, we're not just losing our justice system, we're losing our democracy. Speaking of MAGA loyalists, what about Kash Patel? Donald Trump wants him to lead the FBI. Let that sink in for a moment. Patel is a man who's openly talked about using the FBI to settle Trump's personal scores. He's not interested in law enforcement. He's interested in revenge. And that's exactly why Donald Trump selected him. Patel has said he wants to shake up Washington. Shake it up? More like burn it down. He's already talking about shutting down the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C. and scattering its employees across the country. This isn't reform, it's sabotage. Patel's nomination is a clear signal that Trump's second term would be about consolidating power and eliminating dissent. Here's the deal, folks. This isn't just about Matt Gaetz or Pam Bondi or Kash Patel. This is about a broader agenda to undermine our democracy. They're not hiding it anymore. They're talking about rewriting the Constitution. They're openly discussing dismantling the First Amendment. And you know what? They're coming for people like me, people who speak out against them. I've spent 24 years in the military fighting for this country. I didn't do it so a bunch of MAGA sycophants could turn it into their personal playground. This is about more than politics. This is about the soul of our nation. And if we don't stand up now, we're going to lose it all. So what do? We fight. We support leaders like Casten and Adam Schiff, who are willing to take on the hard fights. We demand transparency. We demand accountability. And most importantly, we refuse to bow down to corruption. This isn't just about holding Matt Gaetz accountable. This is about holding the entire MAGA movement accountable. Because if we don't, then who will? Folks, this is the fight of our lives, and I need you to be in it with me. Stand up, speak out, and don't let these grifters take away what so many of us have fought for. Our democracy depends on it, and that is an absolute fact. Sappers clear the way, airborne all the way.